I guess we can get into the podcast a little bit.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about some recent
Some news, huh? Like New Jersey legalizing marijuana?
some cannabis news.
Cannabis.
Cannabis, marijuana. Let me check. New Jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
My friends tell me, but friends don't lie, I'm told. All the time.
So this article from the New York Times
I don't care about
says
that.
marijuana is legal in New Jersey, but sales are months away. Legalization.
It's not
starting on
years.
Monday. Or months, sorry. So but sales are months away. I don't know.
No, but I'm saying at least not years, though. I'm saying, like, remember, it was like other states, like, sales start in 2025.
Yeah. It says it decriminalizes the use or possession of up to 6 ounces of cannabis, which is plenty.
It's plenty.
And it ends an era of disproportionate arrests in communities of color, which, is typically how it works. When they make pointless laws, the people of color will be the ones feeling the brunt of it. Let's see here. I'm trying to find a good article that doesn't make me pay, man.
I found one right here.
All right, I got one. It's from Gothamist. I don't know if this is the most legitimate source on the planet Earth.
Dispensaries that sell exclusively to recreational customers won't be legal until after the state's Cannabis Regulatory Commission is formally established, meets and sets specific guidelines for the cannabis industry, such as hours, security requirements for such sellers. So, they're just setting all that stuff up at this point.
And what I like about, like, I'm reading an article right now.
100,000 patients right now.
It says, like, these are the type of laws that I think are game changers. It says, in most private places where cigarette smoking is allowed, smoking weed is now allowed as well.
As it should be.
Yeah, those are keys, because then you could really create little Amsterdam enclaves. That was the best part of when I went overseas to Amsterdam. It's not even that the weed is better. It's that the culture is so accepting of it. You could be anywhere and smoking. At a fucking children's park, you could spark up a J and nobody even looks at you sideways. They might, but...
It says right now they have 100,000 patients in the medical marijuana program with 13 dispensaries from 10 operators to serve them.
Yeah, and they're saying the existing medical marijuana dispensaries get the first recreational sales, but they need to have enough supply to cover their medical patients before they can open up for everyone else.
Man, get that supply. The thing is, if it's open up the states, the supply will just take care of itself.
It says that you're not allowed to grow it at home, which is a pointless provision to add into any of these laws, because how are you going to prevent people from growing a plant at home?
And what is the law now? So when they get arrested for growing in their home, is it a production law? Because it can't be a possession law.
Yeah.
So it must be you don't have the right paperwork to produce the plant.
Yeah, and hopefully
Legally.
by the time it goes all the way through, they add a provision, because it says that it's just not a provision in it. Like, it doesn't mention it.
And so a medical patient also can't grow their own? They can't grow their own medicine?
I don't know. It just says, it says there's no, or medical users. So, medical users can't, according to the law right now, grow it themselves either. But
it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, 100%. And it's an unenforceable law. Mm-hmm. If they want to keep something like that on the books, fine. But are you really going to break into the grandmother's house who's growing her 3 plants because she's had chronic arthritis her whole life? You're going to tackle her, punch her in the neck, and then steal her weed plants and then charge her with a misdemeanor? No, it's impossible to enforce.
Yeah.
That's not the cases that they would be looking to. But what the issue is
they want to,
they'll tack it on to charges.
Exactly. And they want to be able to get a warrant.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
These type of laws make it easier for them to get warrants to enter these properties when they're suspecting of, like, growing. But now, what is suspect? Because the smell is legal.
Yeah.
So, like, now
it would have to be a mass operation where they could see it on the electric bill.
Something like that. Yeah. And the neighbors are, like, reporting on, like, weird shit.
It's just keeping that law is just a mess in general. Mm-hmm. Because then you break into the wrong apartment when somebody next door is growing. And it just creates a whole mess. So hopefully they get that off the books. But can't, like you said, still a great step positive, but if you're in New Jersey, don't try to grow your own plants quite yet.
Not yet.
They might come get you.
Did you eat one of these edibles?
Yeah, I just ate one of them.
Guys, we have these 50 milligram edibles. Actually, I'm gonna go grab the bag, bro.
Oh yeah.
I want to show the good people.
We have the bag reveal, the logo reveal, the bag reveal, live here on whatever channel we aren't banned from today. Legally Lifted Podcast. So I'm also reading here that marijuana legalization has been proposed in Maryland. So pretty much every state in the United States will be legal before Texas.
Y'all can't see shit. Can y'all see that?
I don't think they can answer you.
Answer me. These are the official, or current at least official, Delta 8 THC gummy packages. So we're definitely excited to bring these to you guys. 50 milligrams, some of the best prices on the market, some of the best quality edibles in the market. So definitely tap in, hit us up. And we actually, other good news, have hopefully taken a step forward into finding merchant processing.
Yeah.
So that'll be much easier for you guys to get. I know you guys love emailing us, love DMing us, love talking to us, but this will definitely help facilitate the process of you guys being able to take home some legally lifted products.
Damn, so there's actually a whole shit ton of marijuana news today.
Mm-hmm.
So, in good news, I guess you could say, in more good news, we got North Dakota House approves marijuana legalization bill. We got Biden's attorney general saying...
Do people live in North Dakota?
Oh, no, I think that was mostly for the buffalo.
Oh.
Yeah.
They didn't need the rights.
Yeah, they need some high buffalo out there. It makes for good meat. It's
Okay.
like the Kobe beef or whatever beef it is that they get the...
Oh, where they put the
cow
wine?
drunk or wine.
Yeah, they
is.
get them that gets high, and then
Yeah.
that always becomes much better,
Yeah,
much
it's
more
tender,
quality. Yeah.
more relaxed meat. But so we got North Dakota, we got the AG, the Attorney General pick, saying that feds shouldn't waste resources on marijuana enforcement in legal states, which may be the most obvious statement I've ever heard. But I guess they still be going even to Cali and shit and fucking with people.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
So at least he's willing to state the obvious here. And we got
large employers in Maine, they're dropping cannabis drug screening. Finally, like, guys, I understand, like, crane operators, people who drive all day, stuff like that. There's some jobs to where you should not be smoking weed while you're doing it.
I agree.
But at the same time, you should be able to smoke when you're off, and you don't have to do the job. And two, you should be able to get a job that if weed is not impacting your ability to perform that task, they shouldn't even ask about it.
Yeah, they shouldn't ask about it.
They don't wine test. They don't do shit. Like, they don't do stuff like the equivalent on other sides.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And this is another interesting bill. A Massachusetts bill would decriminalize all drugs and study the regulated sale of psychedelics. Massachusetts, I think, is the perfect size state to try something like that in. If you unleash that type of study, I guess you could say, in Florida or California or Texas, there's just too many people, and it's way too big. But if you have a small state that you can regulate who's doing what and study it properly and see
they got
what
a
the
shit
effect
ton of
on the
people in that
community-
bitch, no?
And I'm still a couple million, I would assume. I just don't think it's big enough to be like a Cali or Texas or
Yeah, I got you. No, it's definitely not no 30.
yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, it's got to be in the millions. I have no idea, but I would say that legalizing all drugs is an interesting step.
I should go to North Dakota and get the buffalo tripping.
Yeah, I agree, but I think legalizing it, all of it, is the better option, and then criminalizing as needed. If we have a string of murders because of this form of heroin that is being sold at CVS, don't sell it anymore. But I don't think if they legalize all drugs out of nowhere, people are just going to be purging and going crazy. I think the people who want to trip will still trip. The people who want to go and do their
meth and shit are going to do all that shit.
Yeah, it's like they're already not preventing it. So by regulating it, at least you're not causing as many overdoses and shit like that. Well, actually, that might not even be true because most of the overdoses come from legal drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
So there just may be no way to prevent it.
Yeah, people, I think, just like getting fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I think that's really what it comes down to, and regulating how fucked up people should get, I guess, is what the government has tasked themselves with at this point.
We got, this is actually all from marijuanamoment.net, so it's actually a dope website. It's areas with more marijuana dispensaries have fewer opioid deaths. This new study finds. I don't know the validity.
That can't be true.
I don't know the validity of the study.
That cannot be true, bro.
You really don't think so?
No.
Areas with more dispensaries have less opioid deaths?
Because then what?
Then I guess the norm, it'd be like lower than the norm across the U.S.
Because I know, like, Colorado is like ground zero for opioid abuse, bro. That's literally like ground zero in the U.S. for opioid abuse.
Yeah, I always thought so too.
No, it is. Like Canyon, down Pueblo, that southern part of Colorado is like prime opioid abuse area.
So they're saying that this is, I guess, what the study's based on, from 2014 to 2018, they found that overall counties where the number of legal marijuana shops increased from 1 to 2,
opioid went down.
Experienced a 17% reduction in opioid-related fatalities. Increasing the dispensary count from 2 to 3 was linked to an additional 8.5% decrease in opioid deaths. I mean, there's a lot
I could
more
see
to
that.
unpack,
I could see that. And if we're talking even about Colorado, the whole entire state has 2 million people in it. That's still such a small sample size for like all the other states that got legalization recently.
And in all disclosure, I'm always so skeptical about studies like this, because how do they really know what the cause of it is? But maybe it could be that when you open weed, it makes sense that when you open weed, at least 1 or 2% of the population will stop doing their opioids and just get high. Even if it's that number, you could.
Because it's available.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it seems like at least a pretty legitimate study. I thought it was going to be complete BS, like I've
just
read
the way
before.
they phrased it was weird.
Yeah,
because like if you think about it, like I'm sure there are some areas in the nation where that's just not true, or even the opposite. But if most of the nation, that is the tendency, which I'm hoping opioid use is going down and marijuana use is going up.
Yeah, and
so
it
that,
seems
it
they were studying in places. I guess 2014. That was like when it went legal in Colorado around that time. Because they're saying that when it went from 1 shop to 2 shops, and then 2 shops to 3, there's places in Colorado that have 20. Like
I think downtown Denver is like 400.
Yeah, exactly.
Like legitimately like 400.
So I don't know if it's permanently incremental. Like after 3, who knows? They stop there.
Just revert back to
like
pills.
It could make the problem worse. Dead ass, like who knows? Because it's weird that they strategically were like, let's stop at 3 to 4, because then they could have been like 3 to 50 and the drug problems get worse. So they like strategically don't mention that, because 1 to 2 is damn near nothing. That's like going from completely illegal to pretty legal.
Yeah. I think they should give the homeless more weed.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like how the homeless can't buy weed because they don't have a license.
Yeah. I mean, homeless need a lot of things.
Maybe buying cigarettes.
Weed can help, yeah. If weed can help the homeless and they want to get high, they should have access to marijuana. Everybody should, really.
Everybody should, bro. It shouldn't be a license that holds you back, or it shouldn't be some type of document you should have to be able to consume cannabis, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But I guess that's the only way they can, because like there's some people who are just clearly 21.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like most people really are clearly under 21 or pretty clearly 21, I would say in general. There's a good demographic of people that you can't tell that are in the middle, but like.
Yeah, anybody over like 35, if you're still questioning if they're 21.
Yeah, like they must be Pharrell.
Or something.
Yeah, they're like Pharrell or something.
Because that's not the norm for sure.
At all.
But it is good to see that a lot of states are legalizing. Especially in places like New Jersey, the whole Northeast pretty much is legalized now. They got New Jersey, New York. I think New York's on the way still. They got Massachusetts. They got, I think Vermont is up there too, right? Vermont's in the Northeast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that has some, I think medical.
I think they have some like dispensaries.
Let me check. So it seems like I don't know if there's any like fully illegal states left in the United States and the Northeast.
Pennsylvania,
I don't know. So I'm trying to look a legal weed map right now. So yeah, the Northeast is at least, every place in there is at least, of course it blurs out right with the word I need to see. But most of them are at least medical, yeah. Pennsylvania's medical, recreational. Like the Northeast map, every single piece of it's green. Not all of them are rec, but they're adding to the list because we got Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, all medical. Massachusetts, Maine, and now New Jersey, all recreational.
It says Texas says the state has decriminalized it. That's what this map says.
Oh, yeah, mine's not saying that, but I do see some of them here.
Mine says Texas decriminalized.
Maybe because the major cities have.
Yeah.
And they just take that as most people live in the major cities, which kind of isn't even the case. But
It's not even the case at
yeah.
all. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 states that are still fully illegal.
That's crazy.
I think it's Idaho, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kansas, and Wyoming.
Damn. And you know what's what I was thinking about too? Remember, I think earlier today I was talking about how I wish they would have snuck legalization of marijuana into the COVID bill.
Yeah.
I actually thought about it more in depthly about 4.5 seconds ago. And I think if they tried to sneak that shit in there, it would come with a whole bunch of shit. Like, it wouldn't just
It would be rushed.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't be, just the legalization of marijuana.
The best thing would be decriminalization in there.
Yeah, and the decriminalization. And I think when they do decide, hopefully soon, to legalize it recreationally, federally, or take it off the banned substance list, whatever you want to call it.
Schedule shit.
Yeah, the schedule list. Once they decide to do that, I want it to be a standalone bill because I want to be able to look at it and be like, okay, so what the hell is the point of this? We don't want the government, because like they said in one of the things we had read recently, that the government wanted to legalize cannabis, but only to be allowed, only the government could sell it.
Yeah.
And it's like I'd rather keep the black market thriving because that's all that would end up doing. And then who knows, they might end up making the penalty worse than it currently is.
And why do they get to sell it?
Because they're broke.
Yeah, like that's fucked up. Like, why do they get to sell it after criminalizing people for so fucking long?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was, I want to say the Andrew Schultz Flagrant 2 podcast when he was like, the government going broke and deciding to legalize weed in order to make money is like the biggest slap in the face to all the people who have been arrested because they were so broke that they needed to sell weed.
That's literally most people.
Yeah,
most people.
People who are born
Very
rich
few people are thriving, or
typically don't sell drugs. People
even
who are
some
born
high
rich.
school kids might, but like no, it's not in general.
Yeah, it's not the norm.
Yeah.
Most people aren't out here getting rich off of just a couple grams.
So guys, during this week, as you know, we've been banned, so we will be posting videos on Delta 8 THC Library, on Legally Lifted, on GP's Free Game, which is my personal channel, and Instagram, and then soon a website.
Yeah, we're in the process of developing a website that's going
Yeah.
to have all of our news, all of the cannabis news, and we're also going to try to get some other creators in on it. So
Yeah, we've announced, so like cannabis creators out there, whether you do video, music, I mean, I guess music could be some, like music, art, paraphernalia. We're actually going to be interviewing a guy that blows glass soon.
nice. I've been watching a TV show about blowing glass. So
Yes, you'll have some good questions for him because I know nothing about it.
no, I still watch it, and I have no idea how they do any of that shit. Like, I watch it being formatted, and you need like 3 people to blow glass because one guy, he has to like go like this, like on the fucking pole while you're forming the globe, and you have to, it's fucking molting hot lava of glass. I've watched 2 full seasons of the show about making glass.
That's how they do all glass?
Yeah.
That's how all glass is made?
Well, I mean, I'm sure with like cups and shit, they have like auto form and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I be wondering, like, what do they do with, like, the Chinese bongs? You know, like, the quick, like,
Yeah,
$10
probably.
bongs. Like, how do they do that stuff? Because I know there can't be somebody hand blowing that every time. Can there?
I mean, possibly. I don't know, to be honest. But the ones who are hand blowing, it is a task. I always wondered, too, when you go into these, like, specialty smoke shops, like, why
Yeah.
the fuck could that bong be $1,000?
Yeah, I spent 14 hours on it.
Yeah, now I get it, especially
Yeah,
when they
type
have
shit.
multi-layer. They got the honeycomb
Yeah.
filter. And
And
all
I'm
this
not
shit.
buying that shit because,
yeah.
dude, like, I'm not buying it until it's in a space to where no one ever needs to touch it. Like, I want it on a table that is, like, 12 by 12 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where you can't even reach that bitch. You can't push the table to push the bong over. If I have $1,000 bong in my house, bro, because you have to fight the person who breaks it.
I've been in a house.
It could be my
where
child.
We had I don't know if it was 1,000. I want to say close to 1,000,
had one.
800 or so, and it was one of those glycerin bongs that you had to pull the top part
Yeah.
out of the freezer. And there was this kid that he had it, and we're smoking, and there's this girl that he brings over, and then he goes to pick them up food, and as he's leaving the house, he looks at the girl and he's like, "Don't break my bong," like joking. 2 minutes later, I'm playing video games. I think Mortal Kombat. The table and the bong are behind me. I just hear it break. Turn around, she's like fucking tripping.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. The kid came home. He's like, I told you not to break it. She's like, I didn't mean to. Because I mean, to her defense, it's a complicated piece.
Yeah.
Because you got to, like, get these red tube, like, this piece to connect it to
He
the
had to have a
bottom part.
rule that don't hit it if I'm not there.
Yeah, like, don't touch it. And
Yeah.
I guess she was trying to lift it, and the bottom part came off, and she could have saved it, but she panicked, and it all just shattered. And what made it even worse is, like, this shit leaks all over the floor that's inside the bong, so you got to, like, mop it up, too. I didn't help clean because I didn't break the shit, but I remember having to move my chair so I can continue to play Mortal Kombat.
Gotta allow them to clean the glycerin
She
up.
was freaking out, and luckily he didn't take it that bad, but
What?
I know I would have been furious. I can't imagine leaving the house to go get somebody else food, turning to them and saying, "Don't break the bong," and then them breaking it. It's like you could have, the one thing I said, you could have went and punched a hole in my window.
Should have said don't
done
hit
anything.
because I know that piece was probably really expensive.
It had to be at least $800 because it was a big one too. It was like 4 or 5 feet. I mean, I could look. I don't remember exactly.
But he must have been rich to just eat that whole like that.
He was a neighborhood plug, so he had a lot of cash on hand to say.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the exact price.
Would have
I can
to
see.
just take that one to the chin. Not that you could just fight that girl in that instance, but
Oh, so I'm looking these up, and it was similar to this, but way bigger, and these are about 120, so it's probably like
but this
600.
all this stuff has gotten
cheaper.
Whoa,
Yeah,
what?
this
When
was like
when-
6 years ago.
Exactly. These smoking accessories, even like dry herb vaporizers and volcanoes type stuff, like that stuff used to be like $600, bro.
Yeah. Let me see.
The price of smoking accessories has dropped overall, except for a few things.
There's also just different price points for all of this shit. Let's see what they got to say. Yeah, so it seems like the mini ones, like a regular size piece, is about $175. He had about a 4-footer. So I'm guessing.
My roommate had one that was like the nectar collector that just had glycerin in it. So you just froze the whole nectar collector and you just hit dabs off the end of that or
that's
whatever.
dope.
That was in the prime of me hitting dabs like daily in Colorado.
I
But
was never a big piece like bongs or anything. Like I had one bong. It was a Bongye Keith Dashian.
okay.
Bong, yes, it was a killer name, obviously. I don't need the credit for it. One of the best names of all time.
Okay.
So after I lost Bongye Keith Dashian
Uh-huh.
in a tragedy in which we had to hide it real quick because we were in the middle of hitting it, and my grandpa came home when I used to stay at his house. So we're like, oh shit, and we had to run to the backyard and
Oh
put
shit,
it.
Bongye.
Yeah, Bongye! And we had to put it in the top of the fucking, like on top of a bush.
Yeah.
And it stayed there for about 2 or 3 days, and then my dad was taking the trash out, and like it moves the bush a little bit, shook it, and it just shattered right in front of him. He was like, what the fuck, guys? You're hiding bongs in the fucking bush? He's like, when I was growing up, you'd at least find a good spot to hide it. It's just when we hit it, we got so flustered that we forgot to go get it again.
Yeah.
So it was just sitting there, and it shattered. So we lost Bongye to a tragedy, but
I
luckily,
probably had.
that was a swap shop bong, so I think that was like $10, $20 maybe.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was a piece of shit. It worked though.
I've probably had pieces mid-30s.
Shit. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I'm
mid-30s
into
to
fives.
40s.
Like I've
Yeah.
broken 2 bongs, and after my second one,
Yeah.
which it came after Bongye, but still a cheap one. I was like, I'm just not gonna buy bongs anymore. I've
I
broken
got you.
all of them.
I've had a ton of rigs, bongs, pipes, and bubblers. I've had like 6 or 7 bubblers.
Shit, all
When
broken.
Huh?
All broken. You got a body
Yeah,
count,
yeah.
fucking 30.
Good amount of them broken. Yeah. But like.
Even
When
at
the
cheap
police
levels,
when the
that's-
police raided my and I don't be like a lot of them don't be that cheap, but
That's what I'm saying. Like
when-
even if they were $10,
Yeah.
30 pieces, just $300, you're out.
oh yeah, I've lost well over like $5,000
Oh god.
in pieces because the police have taken at least 15 in my day.
Yeah, I lost a gravity bong to the popo.
Bro, they just because both times when a car, so they're just like
Yeah.
like a hall. No, actually, first time was in a dorm room. Second time was in a car, and he was going through just taking my shit. And I think I told you that story. We had to write a letter, or like write something about what we learned because it was like part of the discipline for the school because they kept all like
Oh, yeah,
all
so
like
you're saying,
basic
like-
weed charges on campus. Luckily, like they didn't take you to the local
okay.
police. So, well, I had to write something that talked about what I learned and shit like that. And I just wrote about how cops rob houses.
Yeah.
And then she almost sent me to rehab.
And not even just that. If you also happen to have a bong with $10,000 in cash sitting next to it, also they'll jack that from you real quick.
She told me, she's like, you have a serious problem, and I need you to know that. And I was like, why do you say that? And she was like, because you smoke weed like this. And then she was like, I was like, yeah, but it's better than alcohol. She was like, it's not good. And then I was like, so I started on the football team here. I was just like the small college I went to. I started on the football team here. I have over a 3.0 GPA. Where's the negative impacting me? You have a serious problem because you're defending weed right now. Like, that's how she was talking to me type shit. You know, and she's like, if you ever get in trouble again, I'll be forced to send you to rehab.
That's crazy. I've only in my life, I think, run into, I mean, my mom was like that for a while, but I mean, I experted the art of ducking my mom, so I never got caught once for like blatantly smoking or with weed ever.
Oh, for sure. I smoked out the bathroom at my mom's house.
Yeah, so
I got in trouble.
I mean, they had their inklings that I was high, but luckily I was always able to maneuver around it, or I was also very quick, so I could run fast. But I had two parents that I can remember distinctively just giving me so much shit for smoking weed with literally glasses of liquor in their hands.
Yeah.
Like lecturing me while drunk about the negatives of marijuana. It's like, what are you doing? I remember one time, because I've told you, I used to hang out with a whole lot of like 40-year-olds. And we would sit in the backyard, drink beer, watch football, and chill. And me and my boy are smoking a blunt. And she comes out just giving us a whole bunch of shit, wasted. And I looked at her, I used her name, and I said, I have the utmost respect for you, but you need to stop fucking lecturing me because you're not my mom and you're wasted.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those moments where like there was like 10 people around, they were like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, like I don't want to hear it. You know, like I don't come to my friend's house to be lectured by somebody else's mother. You know, it
somebody's
wasn't
talking
even
to me.
his mom.
If somebody's talking to me about weed, we usually stop talking. Like, no, I'm okay even hearing people's like oppositions to it or something like that. But it has to be in the form of like a discussion or something like that, not someone talking down on me or anything like that.
I've heard the old excuse, you shouldn't smoke weed. It makes you sad. It makes you depressed. You should trust me. I'm insert ology major here. Whether it's some sort of ology, I'm a major in it, so you should listen to it. Yeah. You know, it's always fun to hit them with, okay, so let's say biology. What biological mechanisms lead to cannabis being a depressant, and how does that work within the biological system that you are an expert of? Well, I have no idea. I was like, oh, well, did you know there's an endocannabinoid system which is primed to deal with all cannabinoids in your body, biologically in your body. That is the exact opposite for a substance like alcohol and tobacco smoke. The reason your liver freaks out when you drink alcohol is because it's poison. When you smoke cannabis, it goes into a system that's been developed by your body that is specially designed to handle it, which just sounds worse, you know?
Yeah. Also, I need people to understand that because somebody studied something or even studied something for a very long time doesn't make it real, legitimate, or true.
Yeah.
There are people that study cults, study the art of doing whatever cult they're in for 10, 15 years. That doesn't mean it's legit. People study how to be a pimp for real, like in prisons every day. They're studying how to be pimps, how to rob people. That doesn't mean that it's a valuable skill or that it's correct.
Even on the good end of the spectrum, there was doctors who studied how to drill holes in your brain to prevent you from being gay.
Exactly.
That doesn't make them geniuses.
Or being sad or being whatever like that. Or doctors have been just giving people medicines all the time, like holding their eyes, hoping that shit worked. Yeah, that because somebody studied something for a very long time, it can make them an expert in that subject, and still all that means is they know the most of the people around them.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, that still doesn't mean that they're right.
Exactly.
Or correct. So, like,
with an overwhelming body of evidence.
People always hit me with people study that a long time. Yeah, but like priests study 10 years to become priests, but somebody that's not Catholic doesn't give a fuck about what that dude's saying.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that dude studied a decade. So because somebody studied does not edify the fact that they should be listened to, I guess is what I'm saying.
In all forms.
In all forms, and they're always right because you studied. Exactly. Who cares?
Exactly. No, I mean, hopefully, it seems like the overwhelming study, the overwhelming majority of the nation is becoming on the side of cannabis, so as long as it continues. I mean, Texas, I think, will be one of the last states.
At least mostly decriminalized, though. I don't feel, at least in Houston, like day to day, like a threat or scared about having small amounts of like cannabis on you.
And I know
it's still the small paranoia from past, but
right now in Houston, the worst thing the government could do for cannabis, for the people who are, I guess, the bad actors within the industry, is legalizing it. Because around here is already like a damn dispensary, so a lot of people making a whole lot of money. So if they legalize it, those people will be fucked.
Yeah.
So, people on that side are like, oh, hell no, we don't want
Yeah, there's
legalization.
a lot of illegal market here that where decriminalization helps business thrive because there's no taxation.
Yeah.
So people are like importing it, which
Exactly.
is almost no. And this is not us encouraging this, but what we are saying, this is how these things work, is that people import this because when a package leaves a legal state, it is legal in that state that it's left, and if it's decriminalized when it touches down, you are still not really technically breaking any laws or any high-risk laws as long as you are under the amount of whatever substance this is that's within the decriminalization. So, like, there's such little risk now that without taxation that it's really being dispersed out. And I don't know if I guess the government doesn't see that or something like that, but like how much money they're losing out on, but I guess they look at it on, we make so much on prisons.
San Antonio's decriminalized too, right?
All of them, all the
Yeah,
major
I knew
ones,
it,
like
'cause
Bexar County.
I've never lived even in a decriminalized area before coming to San Antonio. And I remember one time picking my
What's up? Huh? What do you need? It's not a big deal. I don't care. Okay.
So I remember one time picking my mother-in-law up from the airport at like 2 a.m. I think I remember telling you this story, and pulling up to the McDonald's, and the guy sticking his head out the window and going, "Hey man, are you a cop?" I was like, "No." He's like, "I sell weed out of this window. You smoke weed?" I was like, "Yeah, I smoke weed sometimes, not that often." I was nervous. I was like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" He's like, "I think the guy behind you is a cop. Could you check for me? I don't want to look too suspicious." So being the trooper that I am, I hit the old rear view, hit the old side mirror, and I was like, "Yeah, that's a cop." He turns in and he goes, "Fuck, man, I knew it." So he goes and he's like, he hands his headphones to somebody else. He's like, "You got to take this order because I just tried to sell the weed to cops." I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "That can only fly in a place where it's decriminalized."
He tried to sell the weed over the speaker?
That's how he did it.
The intercom?
Yeah, it was like 2 a.m. He's like, "I sell weed at this McDonald's late night." And then that's when it was like this whole weird thing. My mother-in-law was sitting right behind me. She had been in the city for like 2 minutes.
Did anything weird happen? Did you see?
No. He was
Did the cops just drive off after or what?
No, I was in front of the cops, so I got my food, and I was like, I'm not going to wait to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
So I left. But I just remember leaving that scenario, like, to lean out of the car, and that was his first thing. He's like, "Hey, man, you smoke weed?"
He should have told you to be like, "Bro, please sit here for 5 minutes." And I would have gone out that side door and just driven away with that cop stuck in the fucking...
I mean, since the transaction didn't happen yet and it wasn't criminalized, I don't know how he knew. It was sprung on me. I was an innocent bystander trying to eat his quarter pounder. And I just remember thinking, like, what the fuck? And I remember going home that day and being like, oh, it's decriminalized. So
This was here in Houston?
no, in San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, what the fuck? That is a first for me. And I've been to a lot of sketchy drive-thrus at a lot of places. I mean, Houston as well has had a lot of firsts for me. I mean, this is the biggest city where it's still technically illegal in the state that I've seen a dispensary everywhere. There's everywhere dispensaries. You can go, just stumble into a place. You fall in, you're like, oh shit.
Delivery.
Yeah.
All types of shit. All different types of options.
Yeah, multiple levels, multiple price points. It's like the plug-in Pineapple Express. Like they got like just a table full of shit. It's like
and there's so many different options that like I like it because it keeps the price low because people can't gouge you because you just go to somebody else. Like
and
I know
they
these
can't
people
gouge because they don't have to pay taxes. I don't think they're not paying taxes on the front end or the back end.
Exactly. So, all they have to pay is shipping costs.
Yeah, exactly.
And risk losing one out of every shipment or something. One out of every so many shipments.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I knew people that were in the game in the USPS / shipping back and forth game from Florida all the way up to California. And I think over the course of 500 packages, they got one taken.
Exactly.
So it's
but they also, like...
And that was where it's illegal in Florida.
You have to think about when that... Because I know the government, with these type of things, they just tag these packages, bro.
Oh, they're just like building the case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it's not worth attacking you over the one package. But
and they want the sender, not the receiver.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Or if they do want the receiver, they want the receiver to have received a certain amount that's like enough to...
For sure.
RICO charges like
how they
and
brought
shit.
down that frat and I think UNC or
Duke or something. Yeah,
they had known for years that they were doing it, but like you're saying, they were just like building the case, and
then they do the raids.
Them all down at once.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully that's not what's happening because still in the game for people, the people that I have knew.
Yeah.
But shout outs to cannabis legalization, because it seems like it's around the corner. It's always, my whole life seems like it's around the corner.
Nah, it has never been this close.
Yeah, that's what I was
though.
gonna say, but it's never been
This
this
is different.
close.
This is
now,
different.
medically, almost across the entire nation. So
Yeah.
they gotta give something.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Anything else you want to add to the old Legally Lifted podcast? Once again, we are banned on CBD Hemp Library. So if you stumbled upon this video and this is your first ever video, welcome.
Oh, yeah.
But also subscribe to CBD Hemp Library, because the YouTube overlords are trying to ban us. They're trying to get rid of us, but we're fighting the good fight and we'll never stop. You ready?
I'm ready.
We're signing out.
Oh, yeah.
All right. It's been another one.
Indeed it has.
Peace.